We're back with Congressman Dave Loebsack of Iowa. Most of the analysis I see suggests that Democrats have a stronger possibility of retaking the House, not so much the Senate. How likely is it that House Democrats would launch impeachment proceedings against the president if they do retake the House?
I don't have a good answer for that. All I know is, in my case, I want to make sure that we finish the Mueller investigation. I want to make sure that nobody gets in the way of that they have the resources to finish that investigation. When that's over, then I think if there are reasons to bring forth articles of impeachment, then certainly as a country we ought to do that, but we certainly need to wait until the Mueller investigation is finished.
Democrats in the House have already tried to do that in the minority. Obviously, that's not going to get anywhere with the Republicans in control.
And I voted against those attempts because I don't think we have evidence at this point to move forward on that.
Do you think the party overall would try to pursue that policy if they retake that?
I think it just depends on that investigation, and I think there might be other things that happen at that point, more oversight, what have you, but at this point I think we need to wait and see.
There wouldn't be that too much pressure on the Democratic leadership to do something?
There could be, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to move on it until I see evidence for such things.
Let's move to a different topic. How likely is it that changes to immigration laws would actually be able to be implemented with Democrats controlling the House? Would the Senate go along if Republicans still are in control there?
Here's the deal. Back in 2013, the
Senate did pass the Senate, and it was bipartisan support. Sure.
And that got held up by both John Boehner and by Paul Ryan. I think that we actually have votes there for at least some kind of limited immigration reform, whether it's some kind of DACA or DREAMer reform. But I think we have votes there for comprehensive immigration reform, but we just have to get it to the floor of the House. And if Democrats take over, I think there'll be more chances of that happening.
You'd be able to get some partisan support. And you think the same support would be there then in the Senate that there was, I guess, 5 years ago now?
I hope so. I don't know for sure, but I think that there's a strong desire. You got a lot of people on both sides of the aisle, out in the country as well. You got the Chamber of Commerce, for example. They would be pushing hard for Republican support for that. So I think we have opportunities, let's put it that way.
Unions are a huge constituency of your party. There's a push from unions for legislation they say is needed to save their pension plans. They want Congress to pass the Bush-Lewis Act by November 30th. It would provide 30-year loans to pension funds to help managers stabilize the finances as payments are made to retirees. Do you support this, and how do you respond to critics who might just call this another government bailout?
Well, look, we do have here Central States Pension Plan, for example. Teamsters and others are part of that. They're not going to get even 50 cents a dollar on that if we don't do something about it. And that's a huge problem.
So you support doing something?
I support doing something. The question is going to be what it is. Again, there's not bipartisan support at this point, but clearly folks who paid into those plans, they need to get out of them what they were expecting when they paid into it. That's the bottom line for me.
Do you think that'll actually be able to, you said there isn't enough support for it, so what are the consequences if that doesn't happen?
I think a lot of folks are going to be suffering, and that's unacceptable. There is some support on the Republican side for the kind of pension reform we're talking about. Again, that isn't being moved forward. We'll see if a different party is in control, whether we can move anything forward.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell now says he will pursue cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid to lower the federal deficit. Democrats, of course, oppose this. Isn't the deficit, though, out of control at this point, and shouldn't these things be on the table?
No, we should never have so-called entitlements on the table. Again, folks paid into these, Social Security and Medicare. They should be getting out of this what they put into it. I'm never going to vote for voucherizing Medicare. It doesn't make any sense because actually you're not going to get anything out of Medicare compared to what you get out of it now if we have a voucher plan. And privatization of Social Security, President Bush tried that after he was reelected in 2004. That was roundly rejected by the American people and by Congress. So, clearly there are things that we have to do to shore up both of these.
Is this issue slipping under the radar, the Republican Party here?
I think it's slipping under the radar. There's no question about that. But I voted against the tax plan. 83% of that went to the rich, went to the corporations. Not enough went to the middle class or to the low-income earners. Clearly we've gotten into a situation here because of this tax plan where now we're over $22 trillion in our national debt. We shouldn't have had that tax plan in the first place, quite honestly.
Congressman Dave Loebsack, thanks so much for your time. We'll be watching what happens on November 6th. That brings us to our question of the week. What do you think about making cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security? Send your answer by email to fortherecord@whbf.com or respond to this post on Facebook at the Local 4 News WHBF TV page or on my page.